Sanford and Son reruns, jokes are black. Oh yes, God bless success. We going ultra black.
KBLA Talk 1580. Happy birthday to President Barack Obama. Remember him? Today is his big Leo birthday. And we are going ultra black indeed. She's the author of the book, We've Been Here, How Rebellion and Activism Have Always Sustained America. It's kind of could be a theme song for our radio station. She is a journalist and an author. And happy to welcome her in. Angela Dodson, good morning.
Hi, good morning to you.
Welcome, 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 and congratulations. I know writing a book is more than a notion.
Yes, indeed.
So, and I also know that you co-wrote this one with Michael Days, both of you guys, seasoned journalist, and your co-author is not able to join us because he made his transition. So, condolences to you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, talk to me about this book. It's something that you decided you wanted to do in honor of America's 250th birthday. And a lot of the things that we've seen in honor of America's 250th birthday have been pretty toxic. I think you kind of took another approach. Tell me, how you came to this project.
Actually, we were asked to write something in conjunction with the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, and we had to come up with a concept. And I'm not sure exactly how we arrived at this, but we chose to write about rebellions, resistance in America throughout its history. We're a country that was born of rebellion and have been pushed forward by various rebellions and movements in America since the Declaration of Independence. And we chose to focus on some of those moments in American history. And that helped to shape the project. So,
yeah, it feels like a moment when, maybe it's always this moment, it feels like a moment when we need to remember this history of rebellion, our tradition of revolution in this country, and that resistance and pushback, especially for Black folks, is the story of America. That is the story of America. It's not a sidebar.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of these folks. I mean, certainly. I think you guys have done something. I remember one time I saw the Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking in Compton for Black History Month, and he remarked about how often we have Black History Month without the history. And I think we're at a point in American history where we're being pushed American history without the history. What I love is that you seem to have focused on some folks that don't usually get our attention. In this book, and I love that because I just feel like that deepens our understanding and our commitment. So let's talk about David Walker. It's a name you don't hear a lot.
David Walker was a Black abolitionist in Boston who issued what's now known as David Walker's appeal, and it's an appeal for militant action against slavery. And it was widely distributed throughout the country.
And that seems to point to another sort of ongoing debate or ongoing division, even within the African American community, Black communities. Do we go to a militant approach, or do we try to do respectability politics, try to play within the system to get our liberation or to make progress? I feel like there's a micro version of that happening in the primary elections, right? Where
right.
People are choosing between, do we go centrist because it's safer and we might be able to win, or do we go with this more bold agenda because we're tired of incrementalism?
Well, we've had this debate before, from the early days of slavery to when people often rebelled violently. During the civil rights movement, we had this debate as to whether to be nonviolent or whether to use violence, and we're having it again. I guess where some people are choosing violent resistance, and other people are choosing to be nonviolent in this moment. So it's a debate that rises from time to time, and sometimes we have to try it out. So,
David Walker was born free. He was not enslaved, right?
That is my understanding, yes.
Yeah, so it's interesting that this free black man would then become a leading abolitionist, and that he would be the one making this appeal for a more militant approach to ending enslavement. What was it that drew you to him? What was it about his story that you thought was important?
Because he was a writer, for one. He had a newspaper. He was in the North. He was in Boston, where a lot of the abolitionist activity took place. And he did not live much longer after the appeal. He died after that, but he had a following. So
he was. How did he die? What happened to him?
I can't remember exactly. He just died, I believe, of natural causes. He wasn't killed or anything like that.
So he was he was like an influencer back then.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting. And while that, again, I always wonder, Angela Dodson, if some of these figures who are more rebellious and more aggressive, I'll say, in their approach to ending injustice are actually purposely written out or not emphasized in our schools and in our celebrations of Black history, because that is not the approach that the mainstream of America wants us to take. I mean, I think about Ida B. Wells, who happens to be one of my heroes. She rose, who was very clear that she would fight back. She carried a rifle. She fought back against racists, and she did such an amazing job of documenting the terror of lynching. But she's not as widely celebrated as many other figures in Black history. And I always wonder if it's because she advocated self-defense. It's because she advocated fighting back.
Right.
Angela Dodson is my guest, and she's got a brand new book. You can check it out. It certainly makes sense for us to tap in with our history of rebellion. It's called We've Been Here, How Rebellion and Activism Have Always Sustained America. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
Literally right in front of our doorsteps the last 2 to 3 years, we have been interrupted by this nightmare of a project called Destination Crenshaw. The desire was partnership at the onset, but we've seen broken promise after broken promise. We've seen our parishioners impacted. We've seen our peers and our local neighbors impacted directly by this. We've seen the crippling of the Crenshaw economy as a result of this project starting and then ultimately walking away. And we're not going to just lay down. We're not going to just, amen, pretend like nothing's happening on our doorsteps. And tonight I want to get out of the way because I want to hear from you. I can stand there as a pastor and tell you how many times we've been interrupted from our flow of worship, how it's impacted our ability to provide services to our community, how the blight and how the construction derailment has hindered our ability to amply run our food pantry programs, to offer summer camp programs for our young people, how the construction impacts just our ability to be able to come to church in part. I can go on about how it's interrupted just our day-to-day operations and being able to accommodate the needs of our community.
Making sure they stick to the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
It's the show everybody's talking about. What's up, y'all? I'm Amanda Seals with a personal invitation for you to join me every Friday here on KBLA Talk 1580. Now, you get 2 chances to tap in, noon to 2 p.m., and again from 4 to 6 p.m. Real talk, no filter, just you and me on the highest of vibrations. Fridays only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
She was the first African-American woman promoted to be a senior editor at the New York Times. She has contributed articles and served as an editor for various publications, including Essence, Black Issues Book Review, was executive editor of that book review for 4 years, a freelance editor. She is an accomplished journalist and now, of course, has her book out and available now. The book is We've Been Here, How Rebellion and Activism Have Always Sustained America. Angela Dodson, how can we find you? How can we follow your current work, and where do we find the book?
The book, which is We've Been Here Before, How Rebellion and Activism Have Always Sustained America, is available on most places where you can buy books, but bookstores, but also on Amazon.com and directly from the publisher, which is broadleafbooks.com. Probably Barnes and Noble and other places like that.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. The publicist told me we've been here before, and I have not yet told me we've been here, right? So we didn't get the before, and they unfortunately weren't able to provide me with a book, but I am definitely going to check it out. We've been here before, How Rebellion and Activism Have Always Sustained America. What was the website that you gave?
Broadleafbooks.com.
Broadleaf. Okay, great. Well, congratulations on this. This is a huge accomplishment. And I'd love if you are interested in just talking about some of the other folks that get a little less note in our conversations about Black history. One of the areas that you focus on is Black women who were advocating for the vote, the suffragists.
Yes. Black women advocates for suffrage included Harriet Fortin Purvis and her sister Margaretta Fortin, who were based basically in Philadelphia. Sarah Raymond, who was in New England. Mary Shad Carey from basically D.C. Frances Harper and Mary Church Terrell, who were also around Washington. Those are some of the standouts in the women's movement. You also mentioned Ida B. Wells, who was very, very active in the suffrage movement. So there are lots of black women who came to the movement. We don't think of black women necessarily as having been leaders in that movement, but they were. There were large contingents of black women who participated in the suffrage parade in 1913, notably the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, which was brand new then. It was only a few weeks old. They marched in the parade and have been photographed there. Ida B. Wells was photographed in the parade as well. So black women's voices were heard throughout the women's suffrage movement, and people like Sojourner Truth were active in the movement, and to some extent, I believe Harriet Tubman was known to the movement at any rate. So black women have had a role in that movement.
Yeah, that is interesting because we always hear about the white women who are advocating for suffrage, and you really don't hear so much about black women fighting for the vote. We hear about us fighting for better wages, fighting against racism, and of course we didn't get the vote until much later than white women did. So that is de-emphasized. What did you discover in doing your research for the book that was, if anything, that was inspiring or unknown regarding these black women suffragists?
Well, one of the story of Ida B. Wells is interesting because she apparently was asked to not march with her contingent from Chicago and to leave that delegation and go to the rear of the parade, and she pretended to do so. She left her delegation, stood on the sidelines until they passed her in the parade, and she got back into the delegation and in step with her fellow people from Illinois, and she was photographed and appeared in a newspaper the day after the parade.
That's wild. Why didn't they want her to march? I remember this story vaguely. Why didn't they want her to march with them, with the delegation?
There was a lot of prejudice, I guess you'd have to say, surrounding the march. The leaders were afraid that white Southern women would not march if black women were among the major delegations. So they were, in some ways, trying to hide the black women, I guess, and make it appear that they weren't that integrated, just to appease the Southerners.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
The more they stay the same, right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Washing Society. I don't think these women get a lot of play. These are black women from Atlanta, right? And we're going all the way back to 1881.
Yes. It was about 20 black women in Atlanta who started this strike. And they organized other laundresses and recruited up to 3,000 more to go on strike to demand higher fees and more consistent fees. And this was backbreaking work at the time. This was before washing machines. They had to actually make their own washing tubs and then wash the clothes by hand in the tubs, rinse them. They had to bring in the water. They hung them up during the winter throughout their houses, and during the summer, I guess, outside. So they worked very hard, and most people could afford a laundress, and most people employed a laundress at the time. Most middle class people and up. So it was a common job for black women and some white women in Atlanta, but the vast majority of the laundresses were black. So, and they won their strike. So.
This is pretty amazing. I mean, we're just talking about less than 2 decades out of slavery. These women are becoming labor organizers, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, tell me anything else, you would like us to, know about this book. Like, who are you hoping to reach? Who should get this book?
I think anyone anticipating being an activist or considering being an activist should read this book, because it draws on some of the tactics that people used, and it goes into its various movements are covered. It starts with the indigenous people resisting the colonizers. There's a chapter on religious freedom. The response to enslavement is one of my favorite chapters. It's the rebellions, the self-emancipation, the runaways, and the Underground Railroad organizers are in that book. And then there's a separate chapter on abolitionists themselves and their kind of agitation. There's 2 chapters on various phases of the women's movement. There's the labor movement, civil rights movement, peace movement, and the environmental movement and climate change movement are the final chapters. But, what we can learn from this is different tactics that people use. The women, for instance, picketed the White House. The Vietnam movement, they had what they call teach-ins on college campuses at the moment to help organize people and school them on what the issues were. Those are some of the tactics. The women also went on hunger strikes. There's the Me Too movement is covered with the hashtag that they used, Me Too. So there's all kinds of things that people have done to resist the whatever they were protesting at the moment. I think we can learn from them.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not just about covering the activists themselves and their stories, but the tactics and strategies that people have used to make change in this country. And it sounds like this is you're making the argument that this is the nature of this country. This is the fabric.
Yes, it is.
Well, congratulations once again. We've been here before, how rebellion and activism have always sustained America. Are you on social media? Do you have a website? How can we find out about your book signings and articles and the many things?
I'm on social media. Usually I'm on Facebook and I'm on X. I announce signings on there a lot. I do have a website, which is angelapdodson.com, and I will be posting things there in the future, I believe. And broadleafbooks.com, as I mentioned, posts some of my activities.
All right. Well, we just have a minute left here, and I point of privilege. I'm just wondering how you see where we are, or what we can do, I guess, as consumers of journalism, certainly, to make sure that we are, supporting what is high quality and moving away from mis and disinformation.
Well, I think we're at a very dark moment, socially, politically, at the moment, and that we have to keep ourselves as informed as possible. my strategies are I generally watch MS Now most of the day if I can, and if I'm in the room where the television is, I don't keep one in my office. And then I switch to ABC News for the evening news at 6:30, just to get another point of view and to get a broader view of what's going on in the country, because MS Now tends to do politics only or mostly politics during the day, where ABC also gives you the plane crashes, the fires and weather and plane crashes or whatever is happening in the world, in addition to the politics, so you get a greater sense of this is what's going on in the country today. I think you have to do those. I think you have to watch social media and search out articles from the New York Times and other major papers, the Washington Post, the LA Times, things like that, to get a broad view. And some of the new podcasters or Substack writers are pretty good.
All right.
You need to bombard yourself with as much information as possible, basically.
Absolutely. Angela Dodson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
News, traffic, and sports. Then the phone lines are open. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. The Spokane, Washington wildfires have forced over 60,000 people from their homes. While no casualties have been reported yet, the fires are moving fast into residential neighborhoods where they pose a new, unprecedented risk. Severe thunderstorms are expected to return to parts of the northern plains. Eastern North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota are facing the greatest risk this week. Forecasters say the strongest storms could bring large hail, damaging wind gusts, and some chance of isolated tornadoes. Voters head to the polls today for another big primary election day in the U.S. Ballots are being cast in Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, Virginia, and Washington state. Michigan's Democrat U.S. race is the star attraction, pitting progressive Abdul El Sayed against establishment-backed Congresswoman Haley Stevens. Get BIN News now, on demand, 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Recall 67A mobile appointments are now available in your area. We come to you, quick, easy, and under an hour. Complete the recall to get $500, plus a warranty worth thousands. Schedule today at CumminsRecall.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are still having some issues. They lost their fourth straight. The Chicago Cubs put a 10-5 beatdown on the Dodgers Monday night in Chicago. Dodgers pitcher Justin Robleski gave up 4 home runs in just 4 1/3 innings. Since the Dodgers made their White House visit on July 23rd to hang out with Trump, they are 4-6 and no longer have the best record in Major League Baseball. I'll let you draw your own conclusions if there's a connection, but something is not right with the Dodgers over the past 2 weeks. The Rams are off today. First day off for the team since they opened training camp on July 25th. The Rams are back to work Wednesday at Loyola Marymount. The Chargers will practice today and Wednesday on the University of San Diego campus. It's a chance for the Chargers to reconnect with their original fan base in San Diego. The Chargers return to El Segundo on Thursday. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including Mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County Sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Classes in session every weekend, live on the air. So if you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Wow. Okay. So that's. I love your spot, Miles. Good job. Miles' show premieres on Saturday. You do not want to miss it.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
Yep. The Do Better Network now is officially on terrestrial radio.
Locked in. Partnership, baby.
Yeah. Congrats on that. So some people were asking me where I went on vacation. I may or may not have been spending time over the past year or so thinking about places I might move if I could no longer live in the United States. Maybe over the last 8 years, actually. You see, if you're on YouTube, we're at KBLA 1580 that I have on my African Focus Trailblazers Tour t-shirt. I was very sad that we did not get to go to Africa this year. We had to cancel our trip to Botswana and Zambia because of the Ebola virus outbreak. Not just the outbreak, because Africa has done a great job of containing its outbreaks, but because the Trump administration cut USAID health subsidies to many nations, making it very difficult for them to respond because they don't have the supplies that they need, the medications that they need. So we ended up having to cancel our trip, which I'm very, very, very sad about. I've been to Africa 7 different times. I think it's 9 or 10 countries. I have to update my list that I've been to. And U.S. Americans are flooding out of this country. They are retiring or fleeing to Portugal, to Spain, to Belize as a popular destination. Mexico City apparently just overrun with U.S. Americans fleeing this Trump administration. Now, this was something that was already happening before the second term of He Who Shall Not Be Named, the resident, but we are the new migrants. It has opened the floodgates. And although we meaning people from this country, don't tend to be the lower income migrants, they tend to be middle class folks who are retiring with Social Security or a pension, or people who can work from another country. It's still becoming a worldwide issue. Countries are cracking down, right? They're making it harder to get a visa. They're making it more difficult. More and more money. And I know this is partly a response to the Trump administration, which has raised the cost of visas to many people that want to visit here. They've also added, for some folks, $10,000 or $15,000 deposits that you have to pay before you can come here. So some countries are retaliating. I know that in Mexico City, locals are angry because everything has become more expensive, because so many people from this country are moving there. So I find it incredibly ironic that we have this anti-immigrant sentiment and this xenophobic attitude here in this country. At the same time, many of us are asking other countries to harbor us as we try to get away from the high costs and low rights of our current administration. That said, I did go through the whole, should I move, as an outspoken activist who could easily be targeted, who has been targeted, just as, Nolan Wells' quote-unquote friends are saying how much the death threats can take a toll. I've had my share of them. They are freaky. But on the other hand, I'm a reparationist. And my ancestors fought and died for this country. My ancestors helped build this country. Enslaved persons, your ancestors and mine, built the White House and much of the U.S. infrastructure, the wealth of this country. The fact that we are a superpower reflects 12 generations of black people working without pay. And I'm not willing to abandon that. So I've decided I'm team stay and fight. I will be here. And if they come get me, please protest. Know that I will never off myself in jail or prison. I have quite a number of friends who are making plans to leave or who have already left because they feel that fascism is here, that our rights will be more and more abridged, that they are being abridged, that journalists are being arrested or being targeted, silenced, and they just want to get out. And I understand that. But I have decided to stay. Nevertheless, if you want my opinion of the many places I've traveled and will continue to travel where you might want to go, I'm always happy to talk about it. I love to travel. I plan to keep traveling. And the only way I leave the country is if they don't let me back in. I love my country with all its warts, and they are considerable. But I believe, as Frederick Douglass said, that a true patriot is the one that points out the problems with their country and tries to fix it. Not a Pollyanna who runs around acting like everything is perfect, or a dictator who tries to blame every mistake and fault on vandals or the radical left. A true patriot sees their country with all of its glory, all of its accomplishments, potential, and also the challenges that need to be addressed. So where did I go? I went to Costa Rica. You know what's in Costa Rica? A whole bunch of U.S. Americans, expatriates, who have fled there because they don't want to live here, either because they were retiring there or because they wanted to get away from this country. And you know what else was there? A lot of black Americans. A whole bunch. Of course, I went to the black side. Like many cities, Costa Rica has a black side and a not black side. The black side is the Caribbean. The east side, LOL. As same as in many cities, it's the east side. In the east side, they have the Caribbean coast, which is where you have, in many countries like Honduras and Nicaragua, and to some extent in Costa Rica, you have Africans, descendants of Africans. They're now Nicaraguans, Salvadorians, Panamanians, Hondurans. But in many cases, these were slave ships that were either shipwrecked, and the black people swam to shore back then when we used to be able to swim because we hadn't been discriminated against in swimming pools and beaches for generations. They swam ashore and survived and made community. Or in some cases, they were ships where there were rebellions aboard that ship, and the black enslaved persons took over the ship and settled along the east coast, the Atlantic coast, the Caribbean side of Central America. So we, as a result, we have the black side of many of these countries, and that, in many cases, is where folks migrate to if they're not white, if they want to be with the black community. The other thing that was amazing about Costa Rica is there's so many Jamaicans who've been there for generations, who own businesses, hotels, restaurants. Their culture is everywhere. The music, the patois, the whole vibe. So I actually know someone who is a radio person, kind of a famous, and it's not Theo, by the way, kind of a famous radio personality that I used to work with back in the day, who went to Costa Rica on vacation and never came back. He loved it so much he never came back. And he was, making a lot of money here. So I always wanted to go there. That's one of the reasons why. And so I was glad to go somewhere that I'd always wanted to go to without being able to go to Africa. And, I would recommend it. I do think they're expensive there. The fact that so many U.S. Americans have moved there, fled there, planted their flags there, has made it very expensive. That's the same thing that's happening in Mexico City. We're used to paying higher prices. We push the locals out further into the countryside, and then it's expensive. So that's not a place to go if you're looking for a bargain. But it is beautiful. It is abundant. It is rainforest and beaches and mountains and volcanoes. We got to be with the Bree people, which are the indigenous people there. And they are known for their coffee and their chocolate, and it's a beautiful place. In Costa Rica, Miles, the squirrels, we found this out because we went to the Animal Rescue Center. The squirrels do not bury their food.
Okay.
And the reason they don't bury their food, unlike squirrels in almost the entire rest of the world, is because there's so much food that they do not have to hide it from other animals. There's so much abundance that there's no point. And I just thought that was very deep.
Beautiful.
I thought it was very deep because it's not just a commentary on animals or squirrels.
Way of life.
It's about behavior. And so many of the predatory, hoarding, greedy behaviors that we U.S. Americans have is because we live in a predatory capitalist society where we have to hide our nuts.
You be 40 years old, still writing your name on the orange juice, bro. Look at the squirrels. No. Do better.
Do better because you knew better. Indeed. And there's multiple other examples of that. But so if you want to go somewhere where there won't be a drought, because it's a rainforest and there's so much food that, even the homeless people, I didn't see any homeless people. I'm sure they have some. But there would be plenty to eat. Then consider Costa Rica. Let's go to Kwamel calling us from Gardena. Jumbo, hola, what's up?
Hello there, my friend.
Hello.
All right, so you're talking about Costa Rica. I was kind of wondering, did y'all decide to skip the African-focused trip this year, or is it way later?
Oh, yeah, I was just saying that. No, it's because of the Ebola.
Ah, okay.
We had to cancel it. We were going to Botswana and Zambia. Zambia shares a border with the Congo, which of course is where the most aggressive outbreak is. And although we're not hearing a lot of reporting on it, this is the worst outbreak of Ebola in recent history. So it's pretty bad. People are dying. 60% of folks die from that. And we just didn't want to take a chance, so we had to cancel.
I understand all the way. Yeah, thanks for the information. I was wondering for the longest. Yeah, so, I don't know, the Costa Rica thing is interesting. I'll talk about that probably next time, or,
Would you ever consider leaving? Kwamel, would you leave the U.S.? Are you team flee or team stay and fight?
Well, for the most part, L.A. is my home. I feel like there's other places worth retiring, but it's, going to be kind of an uphill thing for me to find where, because I'm about, where the and all that. So that's my thing. Now, as
I
far
love
as,
LA. I love LA. I love my country. I love to travel, but I'm not giving up what my ancestors built. Y'all gonna have to take it again.
on top of that, I have a philosophy, and I'll try to be brief about that. We are, we as Black folks are to show solidarity with the indigenous folks, and not just kind of leave them on their own to, battle this really, really awful whiteness machine. That also, what I really wanted to talk about, seems to be heck bent on capturing all of us and making us say things they say, think how they think, move how they move. And, even though, of course, we Black folks will never achieve whiteness, for obvious reasons. As long as they got us, captured, in colonizer, racist thinking, then it's kind of good enough for them. Seeing this, with how we sometimes will flip the word woke their way, or also dealing with, this anti-vax resurgence talk again. It's just, I just look and watch and be like, wow, y'all, you must really love the right, and that's also why we've been seeing kind of the stand down stuff, where folks don't protest Trump over Gaza, but still having smoke for Kamala Harris, and she's not leading anything. It's like they're mad she didn't just happen to get elected anyway or something, but they're just kind of, everybody's just standing down, just letting Trump do whatever he wants, and it's like, Jesus, how captured can you be?
Well, to me, the perfect example of what you're talking about is this Officer Brandon Tatum, right, who has 2.5 million followers on Instagram and even more on YouTube. He's running around attacking the family of Nolan Wells and, supporting this white supremacist narrative. And that's the perfect example. He can do that all he wants. He can tap dance and minstrel all he wants, and he will never, ever, ever in the history of ever have the full force of white privilege behind him.
He's an absolute trash panda, if you know what I mean. So I have no tolerance for Black ignorance. Word of Lord Jamar. People like him, as some of the forceful internet people like to say, they may as well just go in the wood chipper as far as I'm concerned, because I have no time for them. I was trying to. Matter of fact, I'll take your comments off the air on this. I wanted to hear from you a KBLA delegation take or guide on Black August. I don't know if you got guests coming up to that effect or anything, but anything that kind of gets all of our education up on Black August and how to understand it and do work within it, commemorate it, things like that. That would be awesome.
Okay, we've talked some about that. We'll talk more about it. Kwamel, thank you for your time. Thank you for always, stopping by. Appreciate you. We will continue this conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
Been dealing with the lies of Crenshaw Destination. I live on this street. I remember the first day I came and there was no parking. And they said it'd be 6 months just to fix the wall. They started putting the big boulders down. And my life has changed ever since then. My kids haven't had graduation parties. They haven't had birthdays. My car's been in the shop multiple times. All my tires have been replaced multiple times, each one. I spent $1,000 on my front lawn because it's 6 months. Keep replacing sprinkler. Now it's just dirt. It's frustrating because I'm not a politician, but I know politics. And I know the Smiley said the councilman, but I want to go above that. Karen, you want my vote? Make things happen. Talk is cheap. We can play these games. Period. Because you can't fix it, somebody will.
Not letting them get away with anything. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail, and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty, and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
Dominique DePrima on the way out the door. Tavis Smiley's coming up next. Let's squeeze in one more call, but you don't want to miss Mr. Smiley. He's got a great Tuesday lineup for you today. Let's go to Fahima calling us from Washington, D.C. Good morning.
Habarigani Che Pasa, Dominique, welcome back. Costa Rica is one of my places that I was looking at retiring. It's a beautiful place, particularly because I have my good friend Martha Johnson, first black governor of Limon. She hosts a celebration the end of August every year. And one day when we have more time, I'll share.
Yeah, they were talking about it there. They call
it
it Festival de los Negros, the Black People's Festival. Yep.
Yes, it's the end of August. And did you get a chance to visit Limon?
We were mostly in Limon State, and we did pass through the city. But yeah, we were on the black side of town for sure, the chocolate side, as Dr. West would say.
I wish I had known, because I would have put you in touch with Martha Johnson. Next time you go back, let me know. She will show you a royal time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful country, and. But also expensive. So I don't know if that's the retirement move, Fahima. Like, you want to go somewhere where prices are down, right? Where you can stretch your dollar.
The cost of living is still not as high as it is here.
Close, though. Pretty close. Yeah, I was surprised. I guess if you go way out into the country, further into the countryside, away from the beach, in the black side, it's still a little cheaper, but it's... Yeah, it was pretty high.
She took us to an island, Reggae Island, which is a restaurant, which is between Nicaragua and Costa Rica. Next time you go back, I'm going to hook you up with Martha, and maybe she'll take you out there.
Okay. Well, thank you, Fahima.
All right.
Yeah, we were on the Panama side. Costa Rica is sandwiched between Nicaragua and Panama. We were on the Panama side, and it was really fascinating to hear from one of the guides that we had, the Bree indigenous man who gave us the rainforest tour and the chocolate tour, that a lot of the Bree are, interconnected in families with black Caribbean folks and black Jamaican folks from Panama and throughout that whole Caribbean side. So you have that mixing of the indigenous and the black folks, just like we have here in Los Angeles. And it's fascinating. You're on the black side of town when you roll into the restaurant and they're serving curried oxtails. There's, everything nice and spicy the way you like it. But again, probably not the most affordable spot so far. But as I said, I'm team stay and fight, so I'm going to be here. So is KBLA, God willing, and we're going to keep doing what we do, speaking out, being unafraid, unbossed, unbothered, and unbought. So hope you'll join us in that. Like I told you, Tava Smiley's up next. Please follow me everywhere. I'm at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima, and then radio. The station is at KBLA 1580 everywhere. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. Please follow, like, and subscribe. It makes us stronger, allows us to be strong for you. And please leave a comment. Let's engage. My mother, the late great poet laureate of San Francisco, has a poem called Rant that I often quote, and I will leave you with a little bit of it. She says, "The war that matters is the war against the imagination. All other wars are subsumed in it. The ultimate famine is the starvation of the imagination." Until tomorrow, my KBLA delegation, I'm Dominique DiPrima. One love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. The Spokane, Washington wildfires have forced over 60,000 people from their homes. While no casualties have been reported yet, the fires are moving fast into residential neighborhoods where they pose a new, unprecedented risk. Severe thunderstorms are expected to return to parts of the northern plains. Eastern North Dakota and northwestern Minnesota are facing the greatest risk this week. Forecasters say the strongest storms could bring large hail, damaging wind gusts, and some chance of isolated tornadoes. Voters head to the polls today for another big primary election day in the U.S. Ballots are being cast in Michigan, Missouri, Kansas,